Hello. Welcome to another edition of What Nobody Told Me After 65. Well, it is your lady on the go, lady in the know, Miss Info. You have reached the information nation where knowledge is shared and wisdom exchanged for the betterment of a people. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I've had so much going on this week, and I wanted to talk to you about things that make you go, which led me down the road of satirical prose. First, let me tell you what satire is, based on the dictionary. The use of humor, irony, exaggeration, or ridicule to expose and criticize people's stupidity or vices, particularly in the context of contemporary politics and other topical issues. Now, that's the dictionary's version. I simply say that satire is poking fun at society, hoping to raise awareness and motivate change. That's what I think satire should be. So, everything that happened to me today made me think about satire and just how screwed up and how dumb some things are in this world that we've created. So the first thing that happened, I'm trying to open a bag of chips. Doritos, as a matter of fact. It's sealed like Fort Knox. Why? What's up with that? What are they trying not to let me get in the bag that I paid $2.49 for? I'm pulling and I'm twisting. And you used to be able to grab it at the base and pull it open. Okay, so now I got a little arthritis going on. But before I even had arthritis, I noticed that things were harder and harder to open. Talk about twisting tops off of things. You had to bang it and pop it on the bottom. What is with that? Do they want you to get into this stuff and eat it or not? Now, I've been wondering, why would you use a machine to seal a bag that a human hand needs to open? When those bags are sealed, they use something like a wax. It's sealed with a machine, for God's sake. What's wrong with them? So, the next thing that happened, I wanted to change the service on my phone. But it didn't have to be the phone. It could be the internet, your utilities. It's easy to get in this mess and hard to get out of. Sort of like a relationship or a marriage. You can get in it, no problem. But when it's time to go, oh my God. So, let me tell you, I called on the phone. I told them I wanted to change my phone service. Well, that's fine. Except I have this fancy phone that my partner wanted me to have, and it's expensive. He pays the bill. He paid the bill for the phone, and he's paying the phones off. He got a fancy phone, I got a fancy phone. Oh my goodness. But I need to move my fancy phone because now I am using my phone for my YouTube channel and to do my editing and all of that. And the phone is constantly ringing. So I'm just changing from one service and then pulling another phone line in to accommodate my YouTube channel. Okay? It seems simple enough to me. These fools told me I had to wait until the billing cycle ended and then not pay it, and then I would be in default on the contract they were under, and then I could pull out and leave him with the whole bill. Okay, so I sort of liked that option, but that's not what I was trying to do. I spent 2 hours almost trying to explain it. First I was texting, then we got into a chat, then they told me to call him. My God, why don't I just call President Biden and ask him to fix this? This is ridiculous. So anyway, they kept telling me it was going to stop automatically. I never did get that taken care of. So again, it made me think about the dumbness of this life that we've created and some of the dumb things that we have. Like, why are there 8 buns, but you get a 10-pack of hot dogs, or vice versa? I done forgot which one it is because I don't eat hot dogs anymore. But that used to burn me up when I was raising kids. Hot dogs and baked beans is a staple. But it was never enough hot dogs and buns. They never matched. You know what that was about? That's one of those marketing ploys. So, what does it force you to do? Buy 2 packs of buns. That's not right. So, I'm looking at satire. Again, the use of humor, irony, exaggeration, or ridicule to expose and criticize people's stupidity. So let me tell you that when I looked up satirists, these are some of the names that I got. You might be familiar with them, you may not, but I'm going somewhere with this. Cyrano de Bergerac, Voltaire, Mark Twain, Alexander Pope, he was an English author, Lord Byron, a British poet, Heinrich Heine, a German author. Now, mind you, this is when I looked up the word satirists, okay? People who write satire. And they most of the time have written books and they're authors and what have you. So keep that in mind as I go down this list. Charles Dickens, Oscar Wilde, George Bernard Shaw, Will Rogers, Charlie Chaplin, really? Al Capp, the cartoonist, Lenny Bruce, a stand-up comedian, Irma Bombeck, I used to dig her, Jerry Lewis, Tom Wolfe, Dudley Moore, George Carlin, that was my boy, Howard Stern, Dave Chappelle, he was really off the chain, Sarah Silverman, Trey Parker, who developed South Park, and I'm going to talk to you about that in a minute. However, these people were not on this list. Jon Stewart, Stephen Colbert, Richard Pryor, Moms Mabley, D.L. Hughley, Bernie Mac, Bill Cosby, Chris Rock, James Baldwin, and my favorite of all time, Paul Mooney. Why didn't they make the list? When I'm telling you about satire, those last guys that I named, you couldn't beat them. You couldn't beat them for satire. And if you want to read their stuff, look them up. You can pull it up on the internet and fall out laughing and get your eyes open to some things. So, James Baldwin, he's an American writer, a civil rights activist, and a satirist. Trust me. He wrote the book, I Am Not Your Negro. He wrote, I believe, Native Son. He wrote Go Tell It on the Mountain. The names may not exactly line up with what you would consider a satirical title, but get into the book and you'll see what I'm talking about. Here are some of the things that make me think about satire and just how dumb some things are in this world. So, on your driver's license, it asks you what your height, your eye color, your hair color. It asks you all these things on your driver's license. The question is, what hair color do bald guys put on their driver's license? Things that make you go, So, when you understand, this is satirical prose, when you understand how a round pizza is packed in a square box, but eaten as a triangle, that's when you understand life. Think about that. The pizza's round. They bring it to you in a box that's square. You take the pizza cutter and you cut it into triangles. Go figure. Here's something else to think about. Why does toilet paper need a commercial? Seriously, who is not buying toilet paper? Is that dumb or what? Those are sort of silly satirical things. But here are some thought-provoking satire that I took off the internet from some other folks. Many people will walk in and out of your life, but only true friends will leave footprints in your heart. That was Eleanor Roosevelt. Robert Adams said, there is only one decision you need to make. You are either working at your freedom or you are accepting your bondage. He was a writer during slavery. Aristotle said this, we are what we do. Excellence, therefore, is not an act, but a habit. One of the things that I recognize is that I had very little time and very little patience for people that didn't try to better themselves or didn't try to get educated or didn't read or just sort of gave me anxiety. I didn't really want to deal with them. Not that they were stupid, mind you. I'm not saying that. But I've told you all I'm a Sagittarian. I'm a true Sagittarian. You want to know about me? Look up Sagittarians. It's me. They should have put my picture there. Me and my daughter, we get along just fine because there are just some things that don't make sense. Again, you know, we created this world. We're in this world. My boy Paul Mooney, he wrote a book, Paul Mooney wrote several books. However, he did a character called Negrodamus. It was satire on Nostradamus. I'm still going to look up and see if I can find that video. I think it might be on Netflix. You would not believe Negrodamus. I couldn't locate it before I came on air tonight in order to give you any information out of it. But I did locate some more satirical material. Did you know that they consider South Park, The Simpsons, and Family Guy satire? Have you ever watched those shows? You can pull them up, by the way. How about King of the Hill? They consider that satire for a stereotype of an average white American family. King of the Hill. And then I used to like Boondocks. That's satire. However, it was satire written on the African American culture and our politics and how we view politics. But it didn't make a list anywhere. I don't know who's putting these lists together, but they need to go back and check it out. And then I wanted to mention that back in the day when I was, hanging out and being a young woman, and I'm a baby boomer, and, Moms Mabley, Richard Pryor, Red Fox, Dolomite. These were raunchy kind of satirical jokesters that we used to have to go to the movie theater and see them. And in between their shows, what we were watching on the screen, would come a cartoon. And that cartoon was called Fritz the Cat. Now, if you've never seen it, don't look at it. Because once you see something, you can't unsee it. Fritz the Cat was no joke. It was satire. At the time, I don't think we realized what they were doing, because they were sort of kind of feeding us some information. Fritz was a cat from England who was supposed to be progressive, white guy with, laid back kind of attitude, but he was also sexist, racist. It was a raunchy cartoon, but because they were using cartoon characters, we weren't supposed to get it. All right? There were crows in this raunchy, nasty cartoon, and the crows were the black folks, but they were the smart ones. And this cat was dumb as heck, as a doorknob. It was very controversial. It came out in 1972. It was called Fritz the Cat. And I don't know when they stopped showing it. It sort of kind of became one of them things with the Aunt Jemima mess. The black woman on the front of the Pearl Milling Company, because that's what it's called now. She wasn't even a real person. They just took a black woman and slapped a wrap around her head and told her she was Aunt Jemima. I mean, Betty Crocker did the same thing. She wasn't a real person. They had a young white housewife. She was answering the questions that other young housewives sent in, and she was called Betty Crocker. I do believe they took the name from a real person, but Betty Crocker was not a baker living some life somewhere. Just the foolishness that they have put out there, and we have sucked it up, hook, line, and sinker. Somebody said that we would believe anything if it was dipped in butter and fried. You could just shove it down our throat and we would, as American consumers, we would just eat it up. Some of the things that, again, just didn't make sense to me. And I know I'm sort of kind of rambling all over the place, but I tell you, my mind has been, back home with the funeral arrangements that I know I'm going to have to deal with here shortly. But anyway, what about 1 hour photo processing? Why? Why did we do that when you just left those people? Why did I need to have that back in 1 hour? I don't know. And how about this? We have too many choices. There's too many choices, and that's not healthy. We go from small, medium, large, supersized, jumbo, extra large, extra super jumbo. Why do we need all those choices? We don't. We don't. We don't. And it's just something else for you to think about. Something else to make you go, When I get myself together, I'm probably going to come back and do a really good video on James Baldwin, D.L. Hughley, Paul Mooney, Bernie Mac, Moms Mabley. Even though these people were satirists, and even though they were black and they didn't make the list all the time, they had a lot to say. A lot of how my mind was shaped as a baby boomer came from some of the philosophies from these people. And I know I'm not alone. So I want to tell you that it's going to be a rough week. I don't think I'm broadcasting Monday. I'm going to go away and visit my daughter, the one in Georgia, soon. I need a break. I think I need to clear my head. I will post probably nothing substantial, so you have to hang in there with me while I get myself together. But remember, you don't know what you don't know. Thanks for listening.